Hi, I'm George Pearson, and this is my weekly video blog. Right now we're on my YouTube channel. Obviously I need to change my header. I'll take care of that in the next day or two, put something up a bit more autumn and a bit less Halloween. We'll be looking at just a few things here in this video. We'll be taking a look at a couple of new training titles I have available over here on howtogurus.com. We'll be looking at a really interesting online program that kind of mimics Adobe's Photoshop and actually is very, very useful for Photoshop Elements users. We'll be taking a look at another site here called Canva.com, which allows you to create interesting designs from templates. And finally, I'll be showing you a link where you can get certified refurbished Apple products here, Macintosh products right from Apple. Great way to save some money if you don't have to have the newest, greatest, latest Apple product. Okay, let's go ahead and roll those opening credits and get down to this week's video blog. We'll start off with a look here at a couple of new titles I have available here on my How To Gurus site. Let's just scroll down to that. I have new training now up here for CorelDRAW version 2018 and also for Photoshop Elements version 2019. Now, if you have recent training from me on these two software programs, you don't need to get these. Just take a look at what's new on YouTube. First off, on the CorelDRAW, if you have version X8 or version 2017, you don't need to get this training. Just take a look at my training over on YouTube for the new features in those two versions, and that's all you need, those two versions, and your existing training will be fine for that. Same thing for Photoshop Elements. If you have my training for version 15 or for version 2018, you don't need to get this training. Again, just take a look at YouTube for my videos on the new features in those two versions, and that's all you really need. If you have version 14 or earlier, and you're looking to upgrade to version 2019, then you might want to take a look at this training. There are quite a few new things in there at that point. So there you go, a couple of new titles in here. Right now I'm working on some other stuff, some other programs that are not graphics related. I'm doing some new training for Microsoft Excel and some new training for QuickBooks Pro, things like that. I'll be putting those up here soon. But again, that's going to be taking me through November. Nothing else graphics-wise coming up in November on the How To Gurus site. Okay, with that out of the way, let's take a look now at a great, interesting site here. It's called Photopea. Easy to find, photopea.com right there. It's an online image editor, and it works kind of like a limited version of Adobe's Photoshop program. On my taking a look through this, I'm just going to scroll down here. There's the actual program right here. It does have ads on the right-hand side. That's just a way to get this free program to work with. It's all online. Now, on my looking through this, it looks, in my opinion, too close to Adobe's Photoshop, and I think they're going to be going after this at some point for a copyright infringement. We'll see how long this thing lasts online. But right now, it's available, and it's really interesting. Let me just open up one of my older programs that I did over here. Let's go ahead to File and Open. I'll just grab one of these things in here from a while ago. Let's just find something that is a bit more difficult. Let's try this one here, Surfs Up 2. This is a Photoshop image. Notice up here it's loading in the image. It will also load in any fonts that it may need. So it tries to find your fonts and load those as well if you're using fonts that aren't included in the program. And it did that just fine. Now I grabbed this one because this is something which I did over in Photoshop with a few techniques with layer styles which you can't do in Photoshop Elements. But that's one of the interesting things about this particular program. Again, it's free and online. Let me just zoom in here just a little bit. There we go. And I have a couple of things in here. Notice that there is this overlapping text. Now the text with the outline, you can do that in Elements easily enough. The kind of a text shape in the background with a wood tone, that part can be done in Elements, and also putting a bevel on there can be done in Elements as well. But to get the right look in here, it took a bit more control over in Photoshop. Same thing for this surfboard. This actually is just a flat shape, and then I applied some bevel and emboss techniques on this shape to give it the surfboard look. And that's something which you couldn't easily do in Elements, but you could easily do in Photoshop. But here's the fun thing. Let's take a look at the Surfs Up copy right down here. This is the text background. That's that wooden background right there. On the layers on the right hand side, If I scroll down here, notice I have my layers. Here are the effects in there. Looks just like it does over in Photoshop. If I scroll down, here's everything else. There's the surfboard. It has a color overlay, for instance. You can't do a color overlay inside of Elements, but you can inside of Photoshop. It has a fancy bevel and emboss as well. And some other standard stuff, a layer mask. All this stuff is available here inside of this program online. Let's take a look at the effects. I'll just double click where it says effects, and it brings up the layer styles dialog box exactly like it does over in Photoshop. Now if you're used to Photoshop Elements and you bring up your layer styles, you'll note there are just a few options over here and very little over here on the right hand side. A lot of this stuff is not available, like the color overlay, the gradient overlay, the pattern overlay, satin, the inner shadow, contour and texture for your bevel and emboss. All that stuff's not available in Elements, but it is available here, allowing you to do some much fancier stuff with your bevel and emboss, your layer styles, right from this online Photopea, things that you can't do inside of Elements. So if you like using the layer styles in Elements, and I use them all the time, as you know, especially for my graphics work, you'll love this. So we have on this one, on the bevel and emboss, I have the inner bevel, outer bevel, an emboss, pillow emboss, stroke emboss. So 5 different kinds of emboss in here. 3 techniques on those: smooth, chisel hard, chisel soft. Up and down you can do in Elements, of course. Depth, size, and softness, this all can be done inside of Elements, but the different techniques and styles in here you can't do. If you're wondering, sometimes over in Photoshop Elements I go over to the styles and I apply a bevel style, and that puts some things on that you can't easily do just from the layer styles. You can do all that stuff right in here and actually adjust those, so you get much more control. Down here you have additional control over the lighting and how the contours work. Really advanced stuff in here. Now again, all of this, to my mind and my eye, looks just too much like Adobe's Photoshop, and I'm sure they're going to be going after this site at some point here for copyright infringement, and this thing will disappear. Until it's gone, though, this is a great, great tool to come in and actually do some Photoshop stuff for free. Now, once you do your work in here, the question is, what do you do with it? Obviously, it's online. But over here we have downloads. Here's a PNG download. Here's an SVG, which is your scalable vector graphic download. You also can export. Go up here to File. Come down. You can save that as a Photoshop file right there as PSD. You also can export to PNG, JPEG. There's your SVG, GIF, PDF file format, and some additional formats as well. So there's a lot of formats you can export out to from this program. Or you can publish online to the Imgur photo site right there. Notice you can open in place, which I've shown in some of my videos, open from a URL or a website right there. So lots of options. Across the top here, edit menu, lots of stuff in it, even some transform stuff here. Basic rotational stuff is available in here. There are a lot of image adjustments available. Again, this looks very much like the selection over in Photoshop. There are layer controls, including your layer styles right there. You can do fill layers and adjustment layers. All of your adjustment layers that are available over in Photoshop are right here. Again, this is a much larger list than you have available inside of Photoshop Elements. If you want to have some additional adjustment layers, which I just love, this is a great way to go. You also can do vector mask. Now, these are your layer masks. In Photoshop Elements, you can do raster layer masks. That's what that layer mask is. And here you can also do vector layer masks. Speaking of vector, this of course is vector or line based as opposed to the raster or bitmap format, which is what Adobe Photoshop Elements uses. Along with that, as you would guess, down over here on the tools, left hand side, I'll scroll down, right down here, there's a pen tool. So there's actually a pen tool available here for you inside of this program, so you can do some pen tool work, again, something which is not available inside of Photoshop Elements. So in a lot of ways, this program is actually more powerful than Photoshop Elements is. It doesn't have a lot of other features that I like, but it is more powerful for a lot of your basic tools. On Select, all your standard stuff in here, you can make selections and modify. There's even a Refine Edge tool in here. Moving along, we have a lot of filters. There's a Liquify filter. Again, this is something which is kind of Photoshop or Adobe specific. A lot of blur filters in here, different distort filters, noise filters, different pixelate filters, some render filters, clouds and difference clouds, different sharpen options, find edge filter, and some other stuff. Obviously, we don't have a lot of the fun little filters in here, a lot of transform filters, but it's a very good collection of filters. Under View, all your standard view stuff as you would expect. Here's your rulers, for instance, your Snap to options in there. Lots of windows, swatches, layers, info, properties, and so forth, including layer comps, which again is something which is specific over to Adobe Photoshop, which you don't have available for you inside of Photoshop Elements. And some more stuff as well. Just your language in here, different themes for the look of the program. You also can install this on your computer if you want to. Very interesting thing right down there, and a list of keyboard shortcuts as well. Now you don't have to have an account to run this. I'm running it right now without any kind of an account in here, but you can set up an account as well. Now doing just the free version without an account, it won't save anything. It won't save any progress work on this. You'll have to export your file back to your hard drive, back to your computer, to be able to open it up in the future. So if you're working on something, make sure you save it out, and I would recommend saving it out as a PSD file format, which will then save all of your layers and effects and everything else over here, which is really very important. So there you go, fantastic new program, online, kind of an online Photoshop program. Again, I'm not sure how long this thing is going to be up here. It really looks like it is infringing on a lot of Adobe copyrights, but as long as it's up, go ahead, take a look at it and play around with it. I think there's some great tools, especially all of the different layer style effects in here, which you can use, and also that pen tool option right down there, things you can't get over in Photoshop Elements. So using Elements along with this program can really expand your capabilities, and again, it's free online. Okay, let's take a look at something else, which is not exactly free, but it's kind of free, and that's Canva.com. This is a free to use with paid options site. First off, it's over here at Canva.com. It's easy sign up. All you need is to set up a user email and a password, and it's free to set up for that. They like you to tell them basically what it is that you're doing: education, small business, large company, nonprofit, and so forth. This just helps them to give you the initial options that would may more closely match what your profession is. But aside from that, it's all pretty straightforward to use. What you do is you create designs in here, and you can create your designs based upon lots of templates. Let's take a look here at Create Design. First thing you'll do is you decide to, what kind of design do you want to do? Facebook post, poster, Facebook cover, Instagram post, flyer, little drop down list here, lots of different options. Same thing down below here, you kind of see samples of these things. I'll scroll down a little bit here. Social media, presentation, poster. There are a lot more available right inside up here. Let's just scroll down just a little bit. You can see here's logo, magazine cover, announcement, menu, card, certificate, all kinds of different options available in here. When you choose one, I'll just start off here with the social media. I'll click on this. Loads the design part of the program. Here's my design sized for that one social media choice that I made. On the left hand side I have templates, elements, text, background, uploads. I can set up folders, and also there's some more apps. We'll take a look at that in just a bit. Now you can show or hide this. Set it over here, this little arrow, click on that, it hides it. Click on one of these over here, it will then bring that back up again. Let's go back here to our templates. Now notice that some of these say free on them. These are your free options. And notice also there's an all over here. So quote, social graphic, and the all. This is only two options from this category. And there are a lot of different categories down here. Again, look for the free things. These you can use without any payments. Let's go ahead and scroll down. Different categories again: days and events, social media, party, social, graphic down here. And come down to all results, you get a lot more stuff down below. It'll fill in that. But it's better just to work from these little categories. Now at the very top up here, notice that these two, real estate, social, graphic, these don't have any free shown down there. And the reason for that is that part of the design in here is from paid sources. That's one of those potential little costs in here. For instance, on this free one here, if I click on this, it opens this up here. I can look up here, upper right hand corner, and download that as these different file formats, and there's no cost involved in this. I'm just going to trash some of these elements in here. I'll just delete some of these things. Trash can right there. Let's delete the whole group and delete that background. Back to our beginning. Let's now bring this one in. Just click on it, brings in, it loads in that. Now in here, if I go to download, notice that there are 3 premium images on this. That's those 3 photographs right there. And you have different ways of working with this. One-time use for each of those, or you can do different options in here, multi-use, extended use, just like working with any paid or premium image content from any source. But if you click on each one of these, I can just then delete that image. There we go. There's the template, and I can put in my own pictures in here instead of the ones that they were using in their template. In that case, this would then download for free. Notice up here, go to download. There's no longer any cost shown in there. So you may run across some things where there is a cost associated. Just be aware of that. You can delete that and use your own stuff. Let's take a look at here at the social graphic. I'll click on all. This opens up all of the templates in that one category. And there are quite a few in here. So it makes it very, very fast to do some quick design work. Just grab one of these things and bring it in. Again, look for the free in there and work from those. You won't have any issues with having to make a payment on this stuff. Let's take a look at elements. Lots of stuff here. A lot of free photographs. There's a whole bunch of free photographs available. There are a lot of grids, a lot of shapes in here that are available. Charts, illustrations, icons. A lot of imagery is already available free, just built in, and it's just drag and drop right into your template over here on the right hand side. There's also text blocks. Just choose a text block you like, drag it in, and then change what the text says. It's easy to change your text. Just come over here, double click, and you can select your text, type what you want, and then that updates your text from your text block. A whole bunch of backgrounds in here. Again, a lot of free stuff available. So there's so much free, you don't actually have to worry about even paying for any of this stuff because there is so much free. You don't have to go for their paid versions. You also can upload your own images right there. So working with this real estate template over here, I could upload my own pictures and then place those into this real estate template. You also can set things up for folders if you want to. Purchase folders, photo folders, make your own photo folder, make your own design folders in here. Now, along with all of this free stuff available to you, and there are lots of ways of working with this. We have downloads, online presentations, social media, professional print if we want to, Facebook groups and pages, Twitter. So you can use what you've created here in a lot of different ways. Also, if you want to go for the paid version, this is the Canva for Work bundle. It includes additional stuff, the Animation Pro, Organization Pro, Brand Kit, Fonts Pro, Magic Resize, Images Pro. A lot of additional options in here, including some new ones down here, and additional storage space, things like that. Now, the cost for this is about $10 or so per month. Let's see if we can take a look at that quickly. I'll go back to the home, and let's take a look at upgrade right there. Has a 30-day trial on that, but I believe the cost is, here we go, monthly, $13 a month, or if you pay yearly, it's $10 a month. It's a little bit on the pricey side, possibly. Depends on what you're doing. But if it's a useful tool to you, if you're working for a business, for instance, and this is a useful tool, start out, give it a try with all their free stuff. If you like this and you want access to everything that they have, then the paid version would easily be worth it. $10 a month for a business is nothing, obviously. For for personal use, there's so much in here available that's free. You really can get a lot of value out of this without paying anything for the program. And again, that is Canva.com. Okay, finally, the last thing I want to talk about here is right over on that tab right here. And here is how to get some price savings, some very good cost savings from Apple if you want to buy some Apple equipment without paying their major costs. Now, personally, I'm not a huge fan of Apple just because they cost too much. They're very expensive. But there are a lot of reasons for that. A lot of it also is just the design and the look and kind of the community that you get a part of if you're on the Mac side of things. But you don't have to pay their brand new price, which is just insane. You can go to their Apple Certified Refurbished store and buy things that are refurbished. Take a look at their iPads, for instance, in here. Now, they don't have any of their brand new stuff, but there's a good selection of almost new, and these have been refurbished, new cases. The screens are checked out and working, fixed if they have to be fixed. New batteries are placed in. They have the full 1-year warranty from Apple, so it's really a good deal. And as you can see, the prices are very good as well. So just a nice little tip here on a great place to take a look if you want to get some Apple hardware and you want to have the Apple warranty and Apple behind your purchase. but you don't want to be paying the huge price for their brand new equipment, just take a look at this. Let me just back up here one touch again. And it's their Apple Certified Refurbished. I'll put this big long link on the download page for this blog video, so you don't have to go ahead and try to figure that whole thing out. You can find it if you want. If you go to their store and hunt around, you'll eventually find this thing. It's hidden down towards the bottom. But I'll give you this direct link, make it easy to get here. But a lot of stuff, Macs, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches, the iPod that's still available here, Apple TV, accessories, and some clearance items. Lots of things available here at really good discount prices, but they're right from Apple with the full power of Apple behind them and your full 1-year warranty. A great deal if you want to have Apple products. Okay, so there you go. That is this week's video blog. Don't forget to take a look at my complete training courses on my website. A link right down there, of course, right below in the description. And also make sure you like this video, share this video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. And I'll see you in a week. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. If you like this video, click on the like button below to let others know. You can click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. I'm frequently uploading new training videos. Don't forget to check out my website at howtogurus.com.